Hey, welcome. This is Catherine Perry, the Big Vision Coach, and this is part 2 of our Mastering Time series that we're doing today. And we've already covered so much ground, just getting our head around these concept of time and how it is all based on perception. But, we've talked about all this so much. Let's go to lunch. Let's do a little thought experiment, okay? And I'm going to invite you to lunch, and let's meet for lunch at Chez Chi today. Now, in case you haven't been there before, it's located at the corner of Avenue A and First Street, and it's at the main bank tower on the 5th floor. And let's do that today at 1. Sound good? Yeah, let's make that happen. Now, when we're thinking about dimensions of time, what do we talk about? The first dimension is the flat coordinates, left and right. That's that Avenue A and First Street, left to right, okay? Then when we think about the second dimension of creation or time, or a second dimension of reality, then up and down. So we're assuming we're coming in at the first floor. We're going to go up to the 5th floor. Then we get into the fourth dimension of reality. Then we have to think about the thickness and solidness. And that's represented in our perception by the bank tower, right? How the bricks, the scale, the presence, right? The thickness and how solid. And then the fourth dimension is time. Okay. Now, all of this helps us understand where to be and when. But what other factors are considered in planning the lunch date? Well, number one, time itself, right? How long will we be there? How long will it take me to get there? How long will it take me to get ready? Then we could think about all the other things that we have to do to get ready. And then we have to think about, hey, on the other side of that time, right? So we're already thinking about all these other considerations of time when we are just thinking about what time to be there, right? But then we've got to think about resources. Gosh, what am I going to wear? Guys, you will never know. Shoe angst. Men will, a few men might. They know that they shouldn't wear house slippers versus their nicer shoes when we're going to go someplace like Cafe Shishi, right? Should go to the Chez Shishi. But then, hey, how am I going to pay for lunch? Am I some people, do I have the money, or how expensive will it be? Am I going to use cash or credit card? But who's paying? Are we self-paying? Am I the guest of someone else? So there's a lot to think about. And then we might even think, gosh, do I even have the energy to leave my work today? Like mental bandwidth. I've got to go suddenly be from in this introverted space where it's just me and the thing I'm thinking about to being in an up and out and interacting with other people. Do I have the energy for this? But then we have to think too in other terms like purpose. Well, why are we getting together? Is it a social call? Is it for business? What are we doing? What is the importance of this? Is this work related? Is this necessary for my career? Is this necessary to enhance a relationship that's really important to me? What's the expectation? Like if I don't go, am I failing to meet an expectation? What am I expecting to happen? Right. And then what's going to be the outcome? Like if I do go or if I don't go, right? What's the outcome? But then we would think too about obstacles and challenges, resistance, friction. Okay. Now we talked a little bit about gravity in the last video, that it's about this weight and importance, right? And what we tend to give importance to, time tends to bend too. Now, here's the thing that I want to bring up. They've done gravity experiments for years and years and years. And when Galileo was first doing this, and he'd go up to the Leaning Tower of Pisa, and he took his two little balls, two metal balls, and one was larger than the other, right? And dropped them in a timed gravity experiment. The smaller ball and the bigger ball dropped at exactly the same rate of speed, hit the ground at exactly the same amount of time. Okay, so chronological, hey, rate, speed, this was measurable, right? But then when he experimented to see, well, if a little ball and a big ball dropped at the same time, what about when I drop a big ball and a feather? Now, they might be different weights, but are they going to fall at the same rate? And in the Earth experiment, they did not. The smaller feather floated at a much slower rate and floated down. And the reason was air. And the air created friction, and it slowed down the descent of the feather. When they did that same experiment on the moon, when there was the removal of air, they took the ball, the heavy weighted ball, and they took the feather and they dropped them on the moon with the absence of air, and the feather and the ball dropped at exactly the same rate. So we are talking about friction. And this matters because very often when we are thinking about our goals, when we're thinking about our time, when we're thinking about the time it takes to do things, the one element that is never really brought into the equation is possible friction. And there are so many little things internally and externally that can cause friction. All right. And so we've got to learn how to manage those. So when you are becoming aware of your own time, okay, this is a little bit of homework for you and to take some time to think about this. I've got two parts. Number one, right now, what is causing friction, resistance or friction in your ability to get the things done that you want to be done right now. Okay. So you've got to think about where is the friction in your life. And what I want to invite you to do is to, number one, think about your typical day. Like, what is your morning routine, the afternoon, the nighttime? Okay. And then also become aware of what do you consider to be your best time for thinking, productivity, interacting with others, recharging. And then think about what is a common disruptor in your day. It could be family, there could be suddenly tech issues, health, etc. So what are some things that are disrupting or slowing you down? Okay. So when you think from two perspectives, and I want you to become aware of what kinds of thoughts and feelings arrive. So when we're at the effect, why is this happening? And how can I work around it? And then the cause, what can I do to create a new outcome? Okay. So what I'm asking you to do is first just kind of do a brain dump. Okay. Think about, we're just going to be aware. What's causing resistance or friction in your ability to get the things that you want to be done now? And then you're first being aware of your typical day. You're going to write those down. Then you're going to think about, hey, what's your best time for thinking, productivity, interacting with others, recharging? Now, here's some ways that I got to think about this. For me, my best time for thinking is early in the morning, not late at night. After I've when I wake up in the morning, I like to spend time in bed just thinking and letting my mind go. Okay. My best productive time is really between 9 a.m. and noon. If I can get the most done in the shortest amount of time. In fact, just before this broadcast, I was able to come up with a content list. I came up with 10 creative ideas. I came up with my content list, and then I was able to shoot out an email with that list to my virtual assistant and say, I want to get this organized into some videos that are going to do. And I've got, in this very short time, I was able to come up with 10 weeks of content in about 20 minutes. It was amazing. Okay. And then what's your best time to recharge? Now, we always think nighttime's recharging time, but we are on a circadian clock. And you may notice that you have dips of energy throughout the day. And one of the things that, especially as we get older, our sleep pattern is interrupted. And if we aren't exercising to keep our energy built up and we're not getting good rest to have that restoration time, this could cause disruption in our sleep. And that could mean during the day you have some down times. My downtime is typically between 3 and 4. And I found that around that time, I kind of wake up at night and I get a drink of water, and I might even spend some time meditating or thinking during that time. Some things have come in and I'm processing, and I get a lot of inspiration at 4 in the morning. Conversely, around that 3 to 4, I'm very tired and I need to recharge. So I have a couple of recharge periods. But let's say if you woke up at 3 in the morning, it's very likely at 3 in the afternoon, you're going to need a break. Okay. But if you had a big heavy day, and normally you go to bed at 10 and you started crushing it and you were really busy at 9 o'clock, you probably want to go to bed at 9 o'clock. Okay. But think about, for you, what are times that you need for recharging? Okay. Now, in this disruptor in your day, we have these. Now, this is really more important for later, but right now, just start being aware. List everything that is a disruptor for you. Okay. For me, I'm right now living with my daughter's family. So I've got dogs, I've got kids, there's things happening at the door. I've got some family projects we're working on. And so there's some things that disrupt my day, and I've had to really learn how to manage it. But that took a little bit of time, because first I was mad about it. But once you're aware of what your disruptors are, then it's going to be a lot easier for you to take control and get them managed. Okay. But here's the experiment. I want you to be thinking about why this is happening and how I can work around it. That's the effect, right? This is, I'm asking you to think in terms of your beta brain. Hey, what's happening? How can I work around it? Oh my gosh. What happens is every time I start recording, the doorbell rings and it's a delivery. Well, is there a general time that bell rings? What is the average delivery time? So maybe you could work around it by either scheduling your recording before or after. That's the type of thing I'm looking for. But then if we're at cause, well, what can I do to create a different outcome? So what can I do on my recording time? Well, maybe I need to, I have to align to the outcome I want. I want clean, clear recordings. I want to make sure that I have a managed space. So what can I do to create this in a better way? Right? Now, there is a time and place for both ways of thinking, but what keeps us stuck is being at the effect of our circumstances rather than focusing on what can cause the results we desire. Okay? Then you're going to command on what command should you format to resolve this in a way that brings you a better outcome? Now, I am throwing you in because the people that are in this group have worked with the one command for quite a while. And this is stretching. I know everybody loves it when I do the commands for people, and it's a beautiful experience, right? But this is a course also in teaching you mastery and how to think about your time. And so, and part of here, we do have the how to format a right command, and then we're going to be doing some other group commands. But right now, I want you to be thinking about what commands do you need to create for yourself in order to get the outcomes that you want. All right. And so I would love if you would email me your answers on this sheet, and we'll talk about it in your future coaching. Okay. So with that said, this is going to end this portion of the broadcast.